Hello, this is the Bible in fewer words. We are Carol and Steve Wells. This is episode 95, Judges, chapter 16. If you enjoy this podcast, follow Linda's example and become a patron. Thanks, Linda. Linda had a quote she would like us to share with you. It is from Carl Sagan. Knowledge is preferable to ignorance. Better by far to embrace the hard truth than a reassuring fable. I love that one, Steve.
Yeah, me too.
Are we going to discover some fables today?
Well, we're going to cover the part about Samson's story that is probably the best known. You often hear about it. We're going to cover it today.
That's where we get Samson and Delilah.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, let's start.
Okay, chapter 16, verse 1. Then Samson went to Gaza, where he saw a harlot and had sex with her.
Okay, that's a funny little line, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's just dropping out of nowhere this morning.
Very much. And that's how this chapter starts, just like that.
And can we see where we left off last time?
Yeah, last time, a lot of things happened in the last episode, but it ended with Samson killing 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of an ass.
Oh, yes.
Remember?
Yes.
And then he was thirsty after that. He'd be thirsty after you killed 1,000 people with the jawbone of an ass. So he said, what, are you going to let me just die here? Die of thirst, God?
Uh-huh.
And God put water in the jawbone of the ass so that he could get a drink. And that's the last chapter.
That was nice of God, wasn't it?
It was.
Quenching Samson's thirst.
Yeah, and then we started in this chapter, just fresh start here, with Samson seeing a harlot and having sex with her in Gaza.
Okay.
And this is the same Gaza that you hear about today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in Palestine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's on the coast there.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so now I'm all set.
Okay.
So verse 2. When the Gazites heard that Samson was coming, they planned to kill him.
At midnight, Samson ripped out the doors of the gateposts of the city and carried them to the top of the hill in Hebron.
Samson is just this crazy guy who just destroys things.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, first of all, it's an amazing feat. You know, he ripped out and carried on his back, I guess, the gateposts of the city, right?
Uh-huh.
And he carried that all the way to Hebron from Gaza. That's a 40-mile trip.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool.
So, first of all, people are doing kind of mean things to him, and then he's turning around and just using his
It's just
strength.
random. It's just a random act of, I don't know what you call it.
Not kindness.
It's not kindness. You know, like, I'll just rip out these gateposts and carry them to Hebron. What the heck?
Maybe he was inspired by God to do that.
Well, maybe.
But it doesn't say.
No.
Okay, verse 4. Then Samson loved a woman named Delilah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't know anything else about Delilah other than what it says here and what she does later. But we don't know where she came from, whether she's a Hebrew or whether she's a Philistine or whether she's from Oklahoma. We just don't know anything about Delilah.
She just shows up in verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Philistines came to Delilah and said to her, you know, those Philistines are a lot of trouble for Samson.
Yeah.
Find out what makes Samson so strong, and we'll each give you 1,100 pieces of silver.
Yeah.
So they already turned his first wife against him.
Uh-huh.
And now they're doing it again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
So Delilah said to Samson, what makes you so strong? How could you be tied up?
And Samson says, if they tied me with 7 new bowstrings that have never been dried, I'd be as weak as any other man.
So the Philistines brought Delilah 7 new undried bowstrings, and she tied Samson with them.
Is this a game that they're playing, Samson and Delilah?
Kind of is. He's just kind of
Playing
pulling their
along.
leg, I think. Yeah.
Okay. While several Philistines hid nearby, Delilah said to Samson, hey, Samson, the Philistines are coming. That is a funny thing to say.
Yeah, it is. But he broke the bowstrings as though they were burnt strings.
Then Delilah said to Samson, "You lied to me before. Don't lie to me again. Tell me how you can be tied up."
Samson said, "If they tie me with new ropes, I'd be as weak as any other man."
Okay, you and I know that that's not true because he was tied up with new ropes in the last episode.
Yeah, he's just playing with her.
He is playing with her. Maybe they're still on their honeymoon.
Yeah.
So she tied him with ropes and then shouted, "Hey, Samson, the Philistines are coming."
But he broke the ropes like they were threads.
So Delilah said again to Samson, "You lied to me again. Tell me the truth this time. How can you be tied up?"
Samson said, "Weave my braids into the loom."
His hair?
Yeah, so she had a loom, that you weave.
A fabric or wool with.
So weave I guess he had 7 locks of hair there. He had long hair, never cut his hair.
Yes.
And so you weave them into her loom, and then she attached.
Then he'll be tied into the fiber of whatever she's weaving.
So verse 14 says, so Delilah wove his 7 hair braids into a loom, attached it to the wall, and said to him,
"Hey, Samson, the Philistines are coming."
Samson woke and pulled the loom from the wall.
So that didn't work either.
No.
You know what this sounds like? It sounds like a fable. It sounds like...
No, wouldn't be that.
It sounds like a story. Like they're doing the nice little say it 3 times, get your listeners pulled in.
You'd almost think it didn't happen.
Almost. So Delilah...
sorry.
It's okay. So Delilah said to Samson, "How can you say you love me when you have lied to me 3 times when I've asked you why you're so strong?"
Finally, he told her the truth. "If you shave off my hair, I'll be as weak as any man."
So she made him fall asleep on her knees and had a man shave off Samson's 7 braids.
And Samson lost his strength.
Oh, that is how the fairy tale goes.
It is, yeah. They got that part right.
Yes. So Delilah said one more time to Samson, "Hey, Samson, the Philistines are coming."
And Samson woke up and said, "I'll break loose like I always do," not knowing that the Lord had left him.
I guess the Lord was in his hair.
He was, yeah.
Verse 21. Then the Philistines captured Samson, gouged out his eyes, and put him in prison.
But Samson's hair began to grow.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to have to be the jailer that goes into the cell and shaves his head.
But they should have figured it out, Yes. They should have said, we got to keep his hair short. But no, they let it grow. And so I guess, assuming his hair grew at a normal rate,
Yes.
years later.
Yes, here he is.
Verse 25 happens.
While the Philistines' hearts were merry, they brought in Samson to entertain them.
Yes, whenever the Bible talks about people's hearts being merry, they're drunk, flat out drunk. Yeah.
I'll remember that.
The house was full of about 3,000 men and women.
Samson called out to God, saying, "Make me strong so I can get revenge on the Philistines for gouging out my eyes."
Samson grabbed the pillars and said, "Let me die with the Philistines."
And the house fell upon the people, killing them all.
So Samson killed more while dying than he killed in his life. And he killed a lot in his life, right?
He did kill a lot in his life. That's it.
The end of Samson.
So Samson had his eyes gouged out while he was entertaining them.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And his hair had grown, and they didn't think we should keep his hair short. Otherwise, he's a dangerous man.
I guess they didn't figure that out. Yeah.
Those silly Philistines.
Mm-hmm.
So there aren't many more then after this little episode, Philistines. There aren't many more Philistines.
They'll be Philistines forever.
Okay. Well, that was kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
Sad and silly and...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of sorry to see Samson go, but
He's a
gone.
goner.
Yeah.
Well, wait a second. So he died in this
Yeah,
tragedy.
he died with the Philistines. It was the first suicide terrorist attack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 3,000 were
I mean,
killed.
I don't mean to giggle there, but
That's what it was, really.
and it's in the title.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Steve. This is fun.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.